In a week which AEW celebrated 5 years and they announced a historic TV deal. We've announced a historic collaboration behind us. You can probably see with our backgrounds behind us. We're back on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. It is AEW review week, shall we say, for want of a better phrase. And our AEW analyst, and now you got to decide which kind of analyst you'd like to be. You gave two options to me when we were speaking about it this week, but it is from Follow the Revolution. It is Mr. Gary Joe. Welcome back, my AEW analyst.
Well, dude, I very much appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, knowing I'm getting the title for an AEW analyst is pretty cool. Um, I messaged Sir Adam over here yesterday saying, I guess I can be Mike Tenay, Excalibur. I'll let you guys choose.
Yeah, you can take the pick of Excalibur. I mean, I don't know. I actually prefer you to be Taz, minus the knee surgery, but get well, Taz, by the way.
Yes.
Definitely get well. His knee surgery. I mean, in storyline purposes, before we carry on, he was attacked before Dynamite this week, which is allowing him to have knee surgery. And I'm sure when we get back from knee surgery, we'll find out it was Hook that attacked him. Anyway, that's my there we go. But we'll get on to that in a minute. And obviously, let's talk. Look, television deal finally announced, massive for AEW, massive for wrestling. Because let's face it, right? It is always good to have more wrestling on television, regardless of whether it's TNA, NWA, WWE, AEW. But AEW announced their historic TV deal this week, multiple years. We're gonna have Collision. We're gonna have Dynamite. We might not have Rampage, but possibly Dark coming back, and also, of course, Shockwave potentially on Fox or Fox Sports One, whatever. But for purposes of wrestling, Gary, this deal is just brilliant for AEW and fantastic for wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Like I can touch up on AEW first. Like knowing that they're going to get a deal of a lifetime is just wild to me. I remember when they first signed up, their first deal in 2019 was only worth 45 million. That's not bad for a startup company. You're just getting your foot in the door. It's just to get what you can do. And then they renewed their deal, I believe it was in 2022. And then at that time, I believe, if my memory serves me right, it was like only 85, 90 million. And now they have way topped that. They're going to be profitable for 76 million per year. And that's not including their $185 per year starting in January. We get the streaming that we wanted. Yeah, discount pricing with pay-per-views, but at the end of the day, it's a business. They know they want to make money. They want to, do the right thing on a business standpoint. And I'm thinking maybe the discount pricing is going to be like maybe $20 American. That's my guess. But when it comes to the AEW backstage side of things, this is great for the talent. They're going to get paid. Um, you know, Maybe AEW can bring in a really huge free agent sometime. You know how Tony loves the signing. So, um, and then, yeah, for wrestling fans, this is a good thing. It really is. And this is where people need to steer away from, the weird criticism that I read online. And I get into that. I have a habit of doing that. I think it's because a lot of my followers bring the negativity to me. But thankfully, I'm positivity at all counts. But I very much agree, Adam. This is great for the wrestling fan that does not give, like, doesn't really care about AEW. That's fine. But just remember at the end of the day, this is perfect for the industry. It's perfect for us fans because we're getting spoiled from all avenues right
Yeah.
now. And I really put my egg in the basket, and I'm sorry, but I really thank AEW for that. WWE is getting better. NWA, for what I understand, they're doing something very interesting too, and that's good for them. TNA, business is picking up them with a partnership with WWE, and just everything is just really intriguing right now, and that's just because of AEW. I feel so.
Yep, and let's face it, more power to it, and we got another good few years of this yet. Thank God for that, because We've experienced life. We've experienced life where there's only one promotion, like proper promotion, and that wasn't good at all. So
Yeah,
thank God there's more than one. There's two, there's three, there's four now. And they're all different in each and every way. So thankfully that there's a lot more promotion out there, and this is a big deal. And I can't wait for the future for AEW. And you're right, free agents could be coming in. And there's obviously, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that's for sure. And one in particular, actually, I wanted to get your feelers on because he's always linked with AEW, and it's coming up, I think, at the end of the year, I believe, if memory serves me right. Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, one of the big ones. He's always linked because he's got a great relationship, and I think I said it on the SmackDown review last week. It's kind of that he's one that I can't predict as to whether he stays or whether he goes, and I think it's kind of like I suppose it's not even like whether the grass is greener. I just think he's going to choose what's best for him and his family, which is fair. But sometimes because he's been there for so long, and there is this option now of AEW, and there's this, it's not as if there wasn't a few years ago when he signed it, there was. But I just think someone like him, he might think now it's possible the right time because I don't think he's going to go any further in WWE. So I suppose there's a bit of it there as to whether or not he wants to whether he's just comfortable and that's just it, or whether he wants to start again and be a champion again to whether he goes to AEW. But I think that if there's going to be a big name coming, it could be him.
yeah. I mean, that's certainly a possibility with Kevin Steen. He did attack Cody Rhodes last night
He did.
during
Yeah.
the press conference thing, so maybe that's building something up for Cody and Kevin Steen. But Kevin Steen's contract is up in December, and
Yeah.
I think, much as I like Cody, we all know Kevin's not going to win the title. We all know that. I think it's just going to be a blow off feud just to get things going with Cody. Um, you know, so me personally, I'm biased. I've always been a KO fan since his heel run in NXT. Like, the guy has it on the mic. He's perfect in the ring. He knows how to tell a story. Obviously, he has more friends in AEW than WWE at the moment. But that doesn't mean that you need to come to AEW just because you have friends.
Yeah.
You want to do what's right for you, and whatever he does, I would be okay with it. Um, Another notable free agent that's going to be coming up soon as well is AJ Styles.
Yeah.
The fact that it's just a little Easter eggs that I noticed that AEW does really well. Like, it's kind of teasing with something. I think it was Adam Page with a vignette that they showed a couple weeks ago, and it actually used the Aces and Eights theme song, and AJ Styles was one of the leaders. So that would be cool. But for Kevin Steen, man, oh my gosh, like that would be awesome. It really would, and I think you can get him in the mix right away. Depends with who and where, and I mean, I think it's no brainer. I think it would be with the Bucks, just because of their history with New Japan and everything.
So it's going to be interesting to see. We was all talking to Dave about it, and we said that from 2024, there's going to be a lot of this. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes and who goes. But anyway, let's get. I touched on Dynamite. I've done a bit of a Dynamite review this week, but I wanted to get your thoughts. 5-year anniversary, and a way to kick it off with Ospreay and Ricochet going absolutely bananas in the ring, with Takeshita as well getting involved. And on top of that, now triple threat match has been signed for next week. I mean, would you always say things like "take my money" or anything like that? But you just had three names. You could have just done an Ospreay, Ricochet, rerun it back. It'd have been fine. But Takeshita as well. Is this though Takeshita's time that he gets the belt off of Ospreay come Wrestledream next weekend?
Me personally, I think this is the opportunity. If he's not going to win the title from Takashka, which kind of was teased there a couple weeks ago, it needs to be Will Ospreay. The guy needs a title. He is well deserving of a championship. I've been a supporter with Takashka since he debuted on Dark, and here he is now in line for a title. I think the tease is always there, and one thing that Tony does really well is he listens to people's reactions, and hears the crowd and he wants to do what's right for the company. Um, and Takashka, and he's just one of those stars that you absolutely can get behind no matter what. It's like the ladder match when Jack Perry won the title. I think that should have been Takashka from Forbidden Door. Um, so if this is what they're going to do, this is one time I'm willing to accept that a title doesn't need to necessarily be on Will right now. Like, I don't want them to go hot potato with this title because it means something, but it means something to me being a Takashka fan. Like, now is the time. So, yeah, I really hope he does win.
We'll see. We'll see next weekend for sure. Let's talk another. We're talking about free agents that signed, and Dynamite produced one, a big one in that. So we had MVP, and there was obviously some with Prince Nana from last week, and Prince Nana was going to get ready to lace him up on Dynamite for MVP, and he says, that sounds like a complaint, and I don't deal with the complaints, but he does, and he turn around, and there was Shelton Benjamin making his AEW debut. And on top of that, it is now seen fit that Bobby Lashley has also signed for AEW. Now, although he's not debuted yet, we were expecting that. I would imagine it Wrestledream if I think it's going to happen anyway. It happened at Wrestledream. But now we're going to have the Hurt Syndicate in full force. What do you make of the signings of Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley to AEW?
I think it's really perfect because one thing that Tony does really well is when he does bring these really big, well-known names, like Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. They just want to have that room to help out these young people, these amazing young talents. Now, for Swerve, obviously, he's been in the ring for quite a few years, which I will say I'm so glad Bobby Lashley wasn't going to be the open challenge for Darby because that wouldn't make sense. So what this is leading to is something, excuse me, this is going to lead to something very exciting. Like I feel Bobby and Shelton and even MVP, they want to go where they are appreciated. I'm not saying that they weren't in WWE, but one thing that I will say with this group, it's going to be phenomenal. And the thing that's going to make me very excited is instead of Cedric Alexander being the last piece, we're going to see Hobbs.
Yeah.
And my gosh, this team, I'm just gonna say it. I give it, oh my goodness. Given at All in Texas, we're gonna see them become the trios champions. I can guarantee you. Bobby Lashley just moved to Dallas. Tony loves his hometown.
Yeah.
Loves his hometown hero. So but oh my goodness, like what a force that would be, if they were ever to become trios champion. I'm gonna predict that Lashley and Shelton, no, my goodness, like much respect for them. I remember Bobby Lashley coming out for an open challenge on SmackDown, 2004, 2005. I was like, wow, this guy's pretty impressive. So I'm pretty excited for it. I really am.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And they say Lashley will be here. So I imagine Wrestledream would be fitting for Lashley to debut, but it could be before that. It could be as early as this week. We'll find out. In terms of a return, there was yet another return on Dynamite this week, and one that I was very much happy to see back.
Yes.
Quite a long injury that he's had off. It was Hangman and Juice Robinson in the match. They were, I mean, again, two people that left it all in the ring again. Perfectly fine match. Hangman tried to hang, literally, Juice Robinson at this point. And then we get the return of Switchblade Jay White from injury. Thank Lord Jesus that he's back. Back in AEW and straight looking like he's going straight into a program with Hangman. And let's face it, the guy's committed arson. He's done a lot of things in the time in the last few months, but now going straight in with Switch. And I think I've been a little bit disappointed that it hasn't necessarily worked out straight away with Jay White. He come in with his big reputation in terms of world championships, and he hasn't quite got to that level yet. But him coming back and working with Hangman just seems a perfect fit for him going forward in AEW.
Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness, man! When they announced the match with Juice Robinson and Adam Page, I mean, I even made a prediction like a week before. I was like, "No, this is the time when you're gonna see Jay White and Adam Page," and oh my gosh, like we're gonna see a whole different side of Jay White, and this is what they need to do with Jay White. They need to give him a resurgence. They're going to go to Grand Slam Australia, which is right next door to New Zealand. Get a monster push going for Jay White. Nothing against Anna Page. I think he's going to be fine regardless. But yeah, it's so good to see Jay White make his return. It's a little different this time because he's going to be a baby face. So that's going to be interesting for a little while. But I'm very excited for it. I like the fact that there was a combination of a return and a debut. I much like the return over the debut of Shelton Benjamin, honestly. So Jay is going to be a good contender for AEW, starting with Adam Page. And you think it was violent with Swerve and Adam Page, I think it's going to get a little bit more violent with Jay White and Heyman.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I can't wait to see what's next between those two. I just want to switch gears a second and talk about there was a certain team this week that has had a big couple of big dubs coming up on Dynamite and I think it was Rampage, and that's Private Party. All of a sudden, we'll talk about the Outrunners in a minute. I'm not going to get through this without talking about the Outrunners. But Private Party pick up two huge wins, and I think it was like reminiscent to when they took on the Bucks like 5 years ago. It was kind of the same pattern the match formed. And are they going somewhere with Private Party now? Are they going to try and get Private Party back into that tag team, sort of back up to that level where potentially they're going for tag team gold?
So I actually made a prediction with my friend Vicky. I don't think necessarily we're going to see them win the titles yet, and I know that's kind of unfortunate. But if they can get into those top tier ranks again, if you're a top 5 tag team in AEW, great. Private Party, obviously, we all know they have been here since the very beginning. And kudos to the Bucks. I know people have their opinions on Matthew and Nicholas, but at the end of the day, I feel that they really help by putting some certain talents over, and it's really cool to see this for Private Party. I think we've been wanting them to get a push quite some time now. But yeah, I don't see them taking the titles off of them. Who I do see them taking the titles off them is actually the Golden Lovers. Storyline sense, that makes the most sense to me. At Private Party's time, I'm hoping will certainly come soon, but I could be wrong. And if they pull off a shocker like that on Saturday with Private Party winning, who goes to the Bucks, man? So just be sure you had your vodka and cranberry, though. They're out of
Well, we'll certainly see what they do with that going forward, and so with Private Party, we'll see what happens with that. But going back quickly, obviously the main event of Dynamite was Danielson Okada again just stole the show. Obviously, Okada's title was only on the line for the first 20 minutes, which was absolutely fine, and fine with what they done there. Obviously, Danielson does get the win, Moxley, and that still gets involved in here as well. However, Wheeler Yuta did come out and go by Danielson's sides, but I do have a feeling with this that I'm not quite sure Yuta stays by Danielson's side. I know they've got a match this week on Dynamite where it is Yuta and Danielson versus Claudio and Pac, but I'm not entirely sure that Yuta stays with Danielson. I think there's something going on there potentially, and we still don't really know who's working with Moxley and Co, because they always still seeming like this isn't. It's like Moxley was like he's forcing my hand, and all this other. Who is forcing the hand of John Moxley?
Yeah, the whole thing with Wheeler Yuta, like he's doing a really really good job for his part, and yeah, I see him turning on Danielson on Tuesday as well. But who is really behind it is really really intriguing. I don't think it's going to be deflating like last year when we had this build with the Devil and And
Mm.
we already know who it was going to be, but it was pretty intriguing. But this one here really intrigues you the most because whoever is going to be in front of John Moxley, I think it's going to be a huge, huge deal. Um, I mean, gosh, Adam, I mean, who could you see it be? I mean, like, could it be Nigel McGuinness? Which I gotta say that would kind of be lackluster in my opinion,
Mm.
because now that the match already happened with Danielson and Nigel, could it be Shane McMahon? Could it be um, somebody currently signed with AEW? Maybe it was Tony Khan's reason behind this all along, saying, "I want you out of my company." No, that would be interesting, but I don't think it's Tony. I don't know. It's a very it does appeal me. I like when there's mystery behind the storyline
Yeah.
because they're not rushing anything, and I think this reveal is going to happen this coming Saturday.
Oh, you reckon as early as Wrestledream? I thought, oh, you it's going to be as early as that.
Oh, here, yeah. I mean, I was thinking, or even maybe World's End, but I could be wrong. But it kind of hints that it's going to happen on Saturday. But then again, I think you need to have Danielson win in his in his home state, and then we see the attack once again, um, and then that's when the person reveals who actually started this whole thing. But I could be wrong. I mean, it's pretty interesting too that no one's on Danielson's side.
Yeah, interesting times. I'm surprised that I don't know. Like, could it be as early as Wrestledream? Possibly, but I'm interested, and it's intriguing to see who's behind it. You mentioned Shane McMahon's a possibility. Yeah, it's a crazy one, but we'll find out hopefully, as you say, as early as Saturday. One person that we know that has got a match at Wrestledream. We didn't know who it was going to be against. We now do. Was Darby Allin? Darby Allin come out, had his little promo this week saying about how he has an open challenge. He took on Johnny TV this week on Collision, beat Johnny TV. Did once again call out anybody for the match. No one come out initially. And then Big Bad, I've got to get this right now. Big Bad, because I got this wrong last time. Brody King comes out this time and beats, and obviously answers the challenge to Darby Allin. So we've now got Brody King, Darby Allin next Saturday, and that's just going to be brutal.
Jeez, I mean, the brutality with Darby is something special, man. But him with Brody is just it's going to be insane. um, I'm glad that Brody is going to have a match. Only nitpick though, I feel they should have waited for that open challenge at the pay per view
Yeah.
instead of last night. Um, but I can see why maybe it didn't happen at the pay per view because Brody King is just an amazing talent. But some people would be like, we waited a week just to find out it was Brody King. Like, you know, you know how wrestling fans get.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for this regardless. These two, the last two matches that they've been in, we've seen what is it, the Iron Claw machine there.
Yeah.
And then, man, brutality is really the word for it that we're going to see on Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that on Saturday for sure. Let's just touch. Oh, well, we'll touch on the women's division. Lots has happened this week. We did see Mariah May on Dynamite as well. They're seemingly there with Britt Baker. There could be something there for her. She was also sat at Willow Nightingale this week at Collision. She was sat ringside for that. Had words with Willow at the end. And then we had a promo where Chris Statlander has now gone back to being a face. She had to part with Stokely. That's still now finished. And she was now indicating that she wants, well, she was kind of interrupted by Mercedes and Camille. Camille going out on Rampage and destroying a local talent that she does. So lots going on in the women's division at the minute, and seemingly new storylines have now started emerging.
You know what's crazy about that, Adam, is if Dave was here right now, I would tell him, kudos to you and your prediction. Because I remember it was like back in May, us three were talking about the women's division and how much it needs to improve. It's really, really improved on all angles. Like the fact that, the women last night, I'm sorry, not last night, but the night before, I get it, it's on Rampage, but they had more TV time than the men. And it just feels like there was more promising progressed storylines with the women's division right now. I personally hope it's not going to be Mercedes and Statlander right away. I think that should be built a little bit more. Stat is obviously my favorite in the women's division. Anybody that knows that, even you. So I'm very excited for her to go back to a babyface. Some of my followers were not all keen on it, and I like hearing their feedback rather. I feel like the heel run kind of hurt her a little bit. And I say that as a fan of Stokely and Stat. But her as a babyface, obviously, it's what really made her career amazing. So, are we going to be seeing the alien gimmick back? I don't know. But this really intrigues me a lot. I'm very, very impressed with this women's division. And the whole thing with Willow, too. Like, she's, she's really staying into that, consideration of being a TBS champion again. I think we're going to see Julia Hart very soon. She teased another thing on Instagram yesterday. If I'm Tony, I've been saying this for a while now. We're in October. We're getting close to the C2.
Yeah,
I think you and I talked about this last week.
we did.
The Continental Classic for the women would be perfect. So, are they going to do it? I don't know, but I really feel they should. I'm going to make something about that, and I'm telling you, I'm going to tag Tony on it. Listen, with the women, you've got amazing pieces to this division right now.
Yeah, it needs to happen. It absolutely needs to happen. I need to talk outrunners.
Yes.
I do like the grizzled young veterans. Don't get me wrong. I do obviously being English, they're great, but the big win for the outrunners this week on Collision against JYV. How long until gold is around the waist of those Turbo and Floyd, the outrunners?
Oh, and again, that's why I don't think Private Party's going to win. There's just so many promising pieces to the tag team division right now. Finally, Tony's paying attention to the tag division. How long could it be? Oh, man. I think what they're going to do right now, their biggest test is going to be FTR. I think FTR is really going to build them up to get all that hot momentum, to make them into serious consideration threats to the tag team division. I love these young men. Just they're just so fun. It might be a little long, but I give it maybe Revolution of next year. That will give them enough time to build I'm going to say, their eventual heel turn with FTR. And again, that's going to really help the Outrunners. And this will give them enough time to really build into the ranks of this tag team division, man. I mean, at first I was a little disgruntled when they didn't win the tag team, casino battle royal, whatever.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense now because patience is key when it comes to rooting for your favorites.
Definitely.
Company, so they will get that.
Definitely is. And obviously selling merch as well now, right? They've got merch.
Their merch, I'm very happy for them. They were number one last month, and now they were technically, Cruising with Kayfabe made a good point on this one. Technically, they're number two because they're right behind the AEW logo. But yeah, the fact that they're in the top three for 2 months in a row just shows how much people are loving the Outrunners. I'm actually planning to buy an Outrunners t-shirt. I'm probably going to do that today, but then again, their merch that they just came out with was fun. Okay, there is the trucker cap, and then there is the fanny pack, which I would never wear, probably for a collectible. um, that is the merch that I'd like to see AEW sell. Is the presentation behind the tag team or the singles competitor, whatever, and that's what they really should do. Because obviously the fanny pack and trucker cap is what represents the Outrunners. So, oh man, they're just so damn fun to watch.
They are. They're brilliant to watch. As I've watched them since way back in the days of the NWA, last couple of years, and they've been brilliant. So I'm really happy. Every time I always look out for them. Every time. I go, right, who are the Outrunners? Where are they? What they got on? And it's great that they're getting a real run in AEW now, and hopefully, as you say, championship along the way. I have to talk about this, as we didn't talk about him last week because I don't think he was competing. Hologram. My God.
Mm.
I mean, geez. This week it was Hologram Commander Nick Wayne and Action Andretti. Um, every week, Hologram does something that I just sit there and just in awe with. He's just this incredible lucha wrestler that's just, I don't know. I'm losing for words about him. And again, you have to ask the question, when does Hologram, because he's picking up win after win after win after win here. In the ranking system, he would be very much up there. When does he get that opportunity, perhaps against an Osprey, or I don't know? When does he get that opportunity, or is it going to be a slow build up for Hologram?
I think it's going to really be a slow build for Hologram because you need to find a perfect opportunity for him. Um, when could that happen? I mean, the way he's getting pushed right now is just really incredible. And that match last night was pretty fun. And yeah, I mean, he's just one of those guys that keeps winning. And I mean, I've seen some people saying, "Well, when is it going to be his time to get a title?" And I think they're doing something really smart with Hologram. You don't want to rush it
Hmm.
because technically, and to me, when you sign with another new company, even though you've been in the business forever, you're a rookie. So um, I think down the road, I would like to see Ricochet and Hologram. That would be really fun. And oh my goodness, I like the pace that they're going with him. He really shined during the Arlington residency of Collisions to what he is now. And who says Tony can't build stars? Who
Exactly.
says Tony can't create ones? Scratch your head and say to yourself, "Yeah, I'm wrong."
We'll see. We'll definitely see. Now, obviously, the next time we speak, Wrestle Dream will be over. We'll do the Wrestle Dream review next Sunday. So I think that it's only fitting that we do a predictions based on the matches that we know. And there is a match on Title Tuesday this week. AEW is going to be recording on Tuesday this week. So it's Title Tuesday. So we'll start with that match because there's a match on that card where the winner takes on Mariah May. So that first match is Britt Baker and Willow Nightingale on Dynamite this Tuesday. First off, who wins that match to go against Mariah May at Wrestledream?
This is what I want to see more of at AEW. This match is so unpredictable. Because oh my gosh, this one's hard. I'm gonna go with Willow. I think Britt will always be around the women's championship spot. Like she just lost against Mercedes, and I
Yeah.
don't think you should force her into the AEW Women's Championship right now because she will lose. Because nothing against Britt and nothing against Mariah, because Mariah just won the title here recently. And
Yeah.
I I really want a good lengthy title reign with her. And then we already know where it's going to be Tony Storm and Mariah May and Grand Slam Australia.
Sequel.
Yes. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I really see Willow. It should be a fun match, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to go against the grain just because, well, I think we're going to agree on a lot of matches. So I'm going to say Britt, and she'll go to Mariah May. So we'll get to that match, but I'll run it. So this is At the moment, this is the match list as of Wikipedia at 6:05 on a Sunday evening over here in the UK. Now, this can change, and this doesn't mean this is the running order of the show. There's bound to be some more matches added as well, but we can only go with the matches that we can go in front of us at this time. The first match they've got, which is one of the preliminary matches, is going to be Atlantis Junior versus Brian Cage for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I'm going to go with Brian Cage. I want Cage to have another championship in AEW. That is my pick going forward for that particular match. But who's going to walk out Ring of Honor television champion come next Saturday?
I don't need to blink. It needs to be Brian Cage. Like, the guy is just like, what is one thing that Tony needs to work on?
Big guys.
He needs to work on these men that are built into promising good roles. Put a title on that guy and, shoot to the moon. Like, nothing against his opponent. He's barely on Ring of Honor. So that's why I really think you need to put a very deserving individual like Brian Cage. He probably signed one of the most lengthiest like AW contracts that I've ever heard of so far, and that is for 6 years.
Yeah.
Reward Brian. The guy. I hear nothing but great things about him. From so many people. I don't care if it's a Ring of Honor title. I don't care if it's an AEW title. Put a title on him.
Yeah.
And next Saturday or this coming Saturday is definitely the time.
I agree. And also, Lance Archer needs to be used more as well. That's for me.
Well, with Don Callis' family, that should be interesting.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, it should. Ring of Honor World Championship is also up for grabs this coming Saturday at Wrestledream. Mark Briscoe putting the title on the line against Chris Jericho. I am praying to the gods every day that Briscoe holds on to this championship. I do not want Jericho winning. If it was Big Bill or Brian Keith, I might be slightly different on that, with that, but I can't have Jericho winning the Ring of Honor Championship. I need Briscoe to retain it for me.
I am not learning nothing from a tree. So I'm with you, man. Like, Jericho, I think I'm in agreement with everybody. He needs to just go away for a while. Like, the Fozzy tour is coming up soon. There's the Jericho Cruise coming up in January.
Yep.
Focus on that for a while. I'm bored of Jericho right now. Just like what I said about Jay White earlier, he needs the resurgence. He needs something different, and that's not winning a title. So
it's not the difference. It's not something different I had in mind.
So, and yeah, Mark Briscoe is just, I love him. So what can I say?
Yeah, Briscoe needs to retain. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Darby Allin, Brody King. I'm torn on this because I don't know where they're going with this. So I want, because I love Brody King as well. I think he's so good. I don't know. I'm torn on this. I'm gonna say Darby at a stretch, but I'm not right. I'm not. If Brody wins, I'm fine with it as well. It's cool either way with this. But I'll push my neck out and say Darby Allin to win, but I'm not against Brody King getting the victory either.
You for sure sounded hesitant there, my friend, and that's okay because this should be a really fun one. I'm gonna go with Darby as well. He's in his hometown, so but that doesn't mean that Brody's gonna win either. But it should be kind of violent for a little while, but should be a really good match for what it will be. And I'm just glad that Brody and Darby have a match. So
yeah, definitely so. Doesn't matter who wins on that one, but yeah, I'm going to hesitantly say Darby, but I'm not either way. TNT Championship up for grabs. Well, Jack Perry against Shibata this week as well. I can't look past. I don't think Shibata's the one to take the title off of Jack Perry. I think there's still some legs in him. I don't know who does take that title away from Jack either, but it's not going to be Shibata for me.
I very much agree with you. Much as I like Shibata, which congratulations going on 1 year next month since he signed with AEW. But yeah, Shibata, I mean, he's just one of those people that you can really get behind because he's just enjoyable to watch as well. I think he's going to wait until Samoa Joe comes back to, you know, start things up with him again. Who's going to take the title from Jack Perry really remains to be seen. Who should it be? I mean, dang, there's just so many people that you could potentially put that on. But at least they're showing some relevancy with the title, I suppose. But yeah, Jack Perry for me as well.
Yeah, Jack Perry for me. The next one, I mean, we talked about we couldn't split Dart Brody and Darby. Osprey, Ricochet, Takeshita. This is going to be. I don't know. I don't know how many stars Meltz has ever given out, but I've got a feeling it's going to be the highest rated star rating he'll ever give for a match. Anyway, I'm going to say, for me, it's Takeshita's time. I don't think Will Ospreay needs a championship either. I think he will eventually get the world title. I think that's a definite. Definitely going to happen. It could be there where Fletcher actually puts that nail in that coffin for him as well. Obviously, Takeshita is the man in a Don Callis family, so there's that bit for me. But I think right now, and as people, I know people are going to start getting on Ricochet's back. Well, he's hardly won, and he's been at this title and he's lost it. But for me, I see this as it is got to be Takeshita. If it's not, then you need to keep it on Ospreay.
Very much agree. Like again, like I said earlier, it's nothing against Will Ospreay. I think he's killing it right now in AEW. But at the same time, you need to have a really good direction with Takeshita. Fightful did report that AEW plans on giving him a really big push, and I think this is going to be the start of it. And there is no better way of getting this deserving title to Takeshita than this Saturday. This is possibly going to be another match of the year candidate for Will Ospreay. I mean, when I do my Elite Year End Awards,
good luck with that.
Oh gosh, Will's going to probably take all the votes with every single category.
How many stars does Meltzer give this one? 6, 7?
I'm going to say a 10.
10 stars. I wouldn't put it past it, but yeah, I think it's Takeshita's time, I firmly believe that. I do think we're going to see the Cole Fletcher thing at this point. I really do, but it's definitely time for Takeshita to win gold in AEW. Tag team match. We've already mentioned this. Excuse me, Young Bucks, Private Party. Private Party have had their moment. They had it this week. They definitely, for me, don't win the tag team championships here. Young Bucks keep them definitely until the Outrunners want them, and then the Outrunners are going to beat them eventually. But yeah, look, it's going to be a great match, no doubt about it. Private Party will definitely give it a good go. But I think this week was the whole giving them their moment so that obviously when they go to against the Young Bucks at Wrestledream, the Young Bucks pick up the victory.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the predictable match of the night, I feel. I mean, I'm just glad that, they're, of course, here getting their moment into a title match again. Looks like they have some sort of direction with Private Party, which, again, is rightfully so. Especially everything that Quen had to deal with when he was out for over a year with an injury. Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually going to be the match that might potentially open the show, if not Jericho and Mark Briscoe. I mean, I want to say this really piques my interest, but I kind of don't because it feels very predictable. And that sucks because I love all 4 men, man.
Do you think that they have to start? Because one thing I do like about AEW is they generally start shows like really hot with a match that, you just want to see. I mean, like this past week at Dynamite was a prime example. We went Ospreay and Ricochet kickstarted the show. Do you think having that one might be just a little bit? It may probably might get the crowd going. That's what I'm trying to get at. Get the crowd goes up and up and up and up. Would that match do that? Do you think at the start, or would you think that maybe because it's so predictable, get it out of the way and then give the rest of the card the opportunity?
Yeah, you said it best, Adam. Like when you see a predictable match on the card, you just need to get that out of the way. You know, it's like with the Chris Jericho match right now. Get that out of the way. Like, I mean, because there's more room for AEW pay-per-views that is going to ignite the crowd. Like it was like All Out, for example. It's just the flow of it. I was worried when when you saw Will Ospreay, you know, and who was his opponent at All Out? I'm sorry.
It's Pac, wasn't it?
Yes, thank you. After that match happened, I'm thinking, oh man, Stat and Willow is in a tough position. There's no
Yeah.
way. Nope. It was perfectly executed, and then the match after that, and just the flow of AEW pay-per-views, I really, really like. I mean, I get it. People like when people are on the microphone, or people like when they're doing the backstage stuff, but they just go right to the wrestling, and again, that's what makes AEW so much of a difference. Like they set the world apart from any other company. It's a good thing.
It is. It is indeed. So we mentioned we both went for different people. I went with Britt. You went with Willow for the match to take on Mariah May. But we're both, I think, assuming at this rate, Mariah May's walking out of Wrestledream as the women's champion on this occasion. Anyway, no matter who the opponent is this Tuesday.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, we got anything really to add to that one? At the final match, at the moment, as it stands right now, like I said, I'm expecting more matches to be announced, but this is the final match as it stands this evening as of recording. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley. We know if when Danielson loses, that's the end of his full-time wrestling career in a sense. This is the one that's puzzling me because part of me thinks Danielson's going to win because it's in Tacoma, Washington. And part of me thinks this is where he bows out. And I'm struggling. So right now I'm going to throw it over to you before I make my prediction. Who's walking out?
Okay, that's just really rude. Okay, I thought we were friends, Adam.
You're the analyst, my friend. You're the analyst. You're Bobby Heenan. You're the Bobby Heenan of this thing, right?
So you're calling me a weasel? That's not cool.
No. Wow,
yeah. I think this is man, this one's really, really hard to predict on. I'm gonna go with Danielson, but again, I think there's gonna be a poach match thing where it's gonna build more to the story with Danielson and Jon Moxley's group. Mm-hmm. Like that would be the perfect way of doing it. But would you want to do that back-to-back pay-per-views where Danielson's getting beaten down post-match? Damn, this one is hard though. Like I want to mind John being champion again. I say this all the time. He is the true MVP, the workhorse of AEW. But so is Danielson. So it is really, really unpredictable for this. And again, this is what I love to see more with AEW. I want to see an unpredictable main event that none of us will know who's going to win. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Dragon by a very slim margin.
Yeah, I think there's more to come for the storyline for sure. I really do think that there's more bits and pieces to unfold. So I kind of agree that I'm gonna agree with you and say Danielson on this. I do think there's more to come though for it, and that's what I'm there for. So for me, Danielson walks out with the win on this. I do agree, but it should be a fantastic pay-per-view like it always is with AEW. Big week, title Tuesday coming up, Dynamite this past week on Tuesday. We'll still have Collision, the Rampage, and then the big one this coming Saturday, Wrestledream. So until then, anything else that you want the guys here to follow you on? If you've got anything else coming up before we talk next week, Gary. Let the guys know now or forever hold your peace, as they say.
Well, there's just something that I just want to quickly promote, and that's a new show coming to Follow the Revolution live on Facebook and YouTube. You can subscribe, certainly on YouTube, and yeah, definitely give Follow the Revolution a follow on there. This show is called Elite Fam Sunday. It's me showing my appreciation back to my thousands of followers. That has been very appreciated with all of my hard work going on 5 years next year, which is crazy. But what this show is pretty much me going live, and then you get to join me, and then on the live we can discuss AEW, you can promote whatever, and it's going to be like 10-minute intervals because of how many people that maybe want to join me on the live. So, but yeah, that will be certainly today, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central.
9 p.m. UK.
Yeah, in the UK, you guys are, I believe, 6 hours ahead.
No, Eastern's 5 hours, so we'll be
okay.
Yeah, Eastern, so 9 p.m. UK. So don't forget to check that out, guys. We had we've recorded with Vince Russo. Yeah, that happened Friday this past week. That'll be out this week. So keep eyes on that. We are sitting down with somebody else this week by the name of Mr. Eric Bischoff. We'll be recording with Bischoff. That should be this is the thing though, so it won't be anything bad because we are going to be recording with him, and it's going to be a deep dive into WCW. So nothing. Well, I don't know. I said to Russo, we're not talking about Jim Cornette, and he spouts off about Jim Cornette on the show. So
I'm gonna watch, Adam, because how much I appreciate you, man. I'm just happy for you getting these interviews, even if it's with Eric Bischoff. It's a cool thing, though, dude. It's
you should
controversy might create cash with
yeah.
You know, the Turnbuckle podcast, but why not, right?
Yeah, why not? As I say, this would be a good one with Eric. Vince was actually really good as well. So we thank them for that. Well, we thank Vince because obviously I haven't had Eric on yet. That's coming this week. Obviously, Layla as well, former Divas champion, will be coming on probably November time. We're going to have that. So keep it on that. So follow. So FTR is follow it on Twitter as well, right? So that's actually your name, isn't it? On
yes,
your is Gary Paradis, right?
See, I can't believe you can say my last name right, but yes, that is correct, sir.
It's not Japanese, Gary. Believe me, I've had to take the lessons to get Takeshita right now. So I don't want no more Japanese. No offense to any Japanese wrestler, but I would prefer it if there wasn't any more coming into. But there probably will be. But please don't.
There, I try to pronounce them the best way as I can do. So
yeah, it took me a while, and it took Dave a lot of pronunciation if you ever go back and watch it, but finally got there in the end. Big shout out to Gabe Kidd, by the way. Ring of Honor debut this week for the Gabe Kidd, the maniacal Gabe Kidd, of course.
Yeah, there's a follower that's just so fascinated with him, and that's my great follower. She probably be watching this, and that's Sophie. But yeah, she's obsessed with him.
He's brilliant. He's maniacal. He's brilliant. He's great. Follow us at HTT Buckle on X, on YouTube as well. Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Instagram. And if you're an AEW fan and you're going to wait until next week to see us again, then that is fine. Please do so. But we will be back next week to review the big one, the Wrestledream show next week. But until then, he has been my AEW analyst, Mr. Gary Joe. I have been the host of the Hitting the Turnbuckle, which I'm now called the Front Man, thanks to Zack Sabre Jr. It's got a T-shirt called the Front Man, so I've nicked that. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.